Welcome to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Burkeen.
Hi, everyone. Hope everybody's having a great day. This is Lee Burkeen. You're listening to Sports Scouting Report. Today, we're not going to have any guests, but I've got a ton of information. The first story we're going to talk about in segment one is Jamar Chase opting out for LSU. And then we're going to talk about the Austin Peay game against Central Arkansas. I was really into that game, believe it or not. Great to have football back at the college level. We're going to talk about baseball. We've got a baseball segment, talk about the Catholic High Bears of Baton Rouge taking over the MLB. And also we're going to have recruiting, talking about LSU recruiting. They just got a big commitment from a DB from Atlanta, Georgia, Nate Wiggins. Well, let's go ahead and go into segment one. Our big story for Louisiana right now is Jamar Chase, the star receiver for LSU, opting out for his junior year, the best receiver in the nation. I think the best receiver to ever play at LSU. I've been watching LSU since 1977. This is a huge loss for LSU. You're talking about a kid that you can't guard. You're talking about changing the scenario now for Miles Brennan. You got a young quarterback, and he loses the best receiver in the country. You can't replace that. Yeah, they have a lot of talent at receiver. They really do, but this is the best proven receiver and probably and I think, again, the best receiver ever to play at LSU. So now your options on offense, you've got them, but you don't have the proven unguardable receiver. You do have a couple of great players back. I guess they're coming back. Eric Gilbert, so far, he didn't opt out, or neither did Terrace Marshall. But when you had Jamar Chase, the best receiver in the country, you had to double-team him going into this year, right? And then that means Gilbert would be a little more open going into his freshman year, and also Marshall. But now Marshall will probably get double-teamed. So, I mean, it just changes everything. And here's my thoughts on Jamar Chase. We're in a world where everybody puts their opinion out really fast, like within the first hour of hearing something. I like to think about it, take it in. And so here's my thoughts. Greedy Williams skipped the bowl game 2 years ago, the Fiesta Bowl against Central Florida for LSU, the corner. Was drafted in the second round. And here's my point. A lot of agents, a lot of people in the media, for about a week were saying that Greedy Williams would go in the first 10, 15 picks of the draft, guaranteed, first round. Well, here's what happened. And you go in the second round. He slipped. He went down, and they found all these things they didn't, they just, there's no guarantee. If you're a young person listening to this and a parent, and I know Jamar Chase, I know his dad, he came on my TV show 4 years ago. Great kid, great family. You've got to ask yourself this. There's two positions, and you can Google anything, but receivers and corners, there aren't very many that go in the first round every year. And there's no guarantee that you're going to keep your first-round spot. Now, is Jamar Chase the number one receiver in the country going into this year? Yes, no doubt. But if this college season is played like we think it will be, and three receivers in the country step up with a lot of talent, and there's a lot of great receivers in the country every year. That is the most loaded position in the country, wide receiver, in high school, college, and pro. Let's just say three receivers step up, and it happens every year. Then these three receivers might go before Jamar because it's all about who played this year, who was current. But I will say this, there's no guarantee Jamar's going to go in the first round. I mean, just go back to Greedy Williams is my point. And you always see it for like a week or two on the internet. You know, this player is going to go in the first round. He's viewed as a top 15 pick, top 18, top 10. And Greedy went in round 2. Now, it happens. So I have nothing negative of choice. I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm just saying there's no guarantee if you missed your junior year that your agent is right or that the media is right, 2 or 3 guys that make a list of 50 kids every year that go to the draft. If I was Jamar Chase, I would come back, keep hold of that number 1 ranking at wideout. Don't let 3 receivers in the country or 4 or 5 have a great year. There's a ton of receivers in the United States that can play football. Physically, speed. Jamar came out of nowhere last year. I thought he was the best receiver in the country when he came out of high school. I'm still his biggest fan. Like I said, I'm a fan of his family. But this is not about being upset or anything. This is a media opinion of knowing football, being around football for 30 years, and not getting caught up into all the press of that. I call it that 1 week or 2 week press of, this is a guaranteed slam dunk. He'll be a top 5 pick. No, that's not guaranteed. It's not. We've seen this happen over and over and over with players. And some NFL teams don't like kids skipping their junior year. They want to see them play, continue to develop. But there's 2 positions in the country that you don't want to skip your junior year unless you're the first pick of the draft. And that's receiver and corner. Those guys, they're not definites. Go look at the draft in the first round every year. There's not a lot of DBs in the first round. And most of those corners that go in the first play through their junior year. The same thing with receivers. There's not many receivers that go in the first round. Just look at it the last 10 years. Look at the last 5 years. Now, if you're a quarterback, I would say maybe sit out. I'm a college football fan. I wouldn't tell any of them to sit out. I just love college. I like to see them play college ball. I mean, they're representing a university. They're representing usually a state. It's team. It's playing for your teammates, playing for one goal to win championships. You don't get to do this but one time in your life. Jamar did win a national championship with Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson and Moss and a lot of those guys that left, but they have a chance to win 2 in a row. But like I said, Miles Brennan, if there's anybody that needs Chase to come back, it's Miles Brennan, the young quarterback. He needs Jamar. He needs Jamar to become what he needs to become, and that's to have a great receiver, the number 1 receiver in the country, come back to help his transition out and help the team. But, again, I don't think it's a slam dunk that Jamar's a top 10 pick by going pro early because there's a lot of good receivers that can come on really fast and bump, that actually can move up to be even with Jamar or go past him. Again, running back, D-tackle, DN, quarterback, those guys usually they're going to bottom out. They're not going to get beat out by anybody if they miss. But, again, I'm pro college. I think Joe Burrow would have came back if he would have had a year of eligibility left. I just think that's his mindset with doing that. But then again, we don't know. We don't know. Joe probably, let's just say if Joe would have had a year left, I probably would have told him not to come back if he was the first pick. He probably would have stayed the first pick. I know he told LSU fans that he would have came back if he would have had another year, but I don't think that would have happened being the first pick. I think he still would have been that first pick. If let's just say if he would have had a year coming up. But again, this is not about who right or wrong. This is not about being negative. It's just my opinion, following football, following the draft, following the talent, not getting caught up into what you read over a 1 or 2 weeks period. And agents are always going to try and get kids to go pro because they get a commission. Your agents, they get a commission as soon as you can hire them, and they're getting paid. So they're not going to try and keep you in college. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, let's talk about the first college football game of the season, Austin Peay and Central Arkansas. What a game. I loved it. We'll be right back.
Hello, Louisiana Football Magazine fans. Like what you're hearing? Well, you're going to love our content at lafootballmagazine.com. This week, make sure to check out Recruit Spotlight articles on Bogalusa wide receiver and Memphis commit Raheem Roberts, South Lafourche offensive lineman Kendall Walker, and Ruston running back Travian Hargrove. Also, make sure to go to our website to pre-order our North and South magazine editions for the upcoming 2020 season. All that and more at lafootballmagazine.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. The first college football game of the year I thought was phenomenal. You know, and it's a 1AA Subdivision 1, 1AA D1. I still want to say 1AA. I'm old school, but these are two quality teams. And I'm going to admit something. Austin Peay, I've watched parts of games when they were on TV in the past. I've never seen a whole game. Central Arkansas, I did watch them last year against Northwestern State. Very impressed with these two quarterbacks. I think Jeremiah Oatsvall from Austin Peay is a gamer, man. This guy is a gamer. And Braylon Smith from Central Arkansas, phenomenal dual guy. Now realize this was the first game, so it was a little sloppy. It's a little messy, but it was the first game. If you would have watched Michigan LSU, it was probably going to be sloppy. If it was week 1 or 2, I mean, it's the first game. You get the kinks out, right? But considering that, I thought it was a very entertaining game. I thought these two teams played hard. I love the effort. For young kids watching this game, young high school kids, junior high kids, this is how you play football. They played for 60 minutes. They strapped it on. They looked like they were having fun. Austin Peay was competing for the whole game. And look, I think Central Arkansas is more talented. Austin Peay is well coached. I thought Central Arkansas did a good job recruiting. I mean, they've got great athletes. Central Arkansas's D-line could play in the SEC. And by the way, a Louisiana tidbit here, 3 starters for Central Arkansas were from Louisiana. They didn't really mention that in the game last night. I wish they would have. But three of their 22 starters for Central Arkansas are starters from Louisiana. Robert Rochelle, number 9. Remember number 9 last from the game? He's a senior from Fair Park High School in Shreveport, which is now Booker T. Washington. Robert, 6'2", 195, a senior, is going to get drafted. I actually told Steve Ensminger about him back when this kid was a senior, and he wasn't ranked and all that, but I was like, this is a sleeper, man, that y'all need to look at, and I'm so proud that Robert has become a great DB. He's a big guy. He'll play safety. Now, remember J.W. Jones from the game, the defensive end, number 50. He's from Rayville High School in Rayville, Louisiana. He was a big-time player in high school. He was about 220. Now he's 248, 6'4". He'll get drafted probably. I think he'll be on an NFL team. He'll be a starter. And the third starter from Louisiana at Central Arkansas is a kid I liked at Ouachita High School, Cameron Webb. Offensive guard, number 62. If you remember number 62 in the game on the O-line for Central Arkansas, he's only a junior, 6'4", 310. Really tough kid. And again, I love the effort. I've seen D1 games where teams didn't play this hard. But the excitement of these kids, and I love that the fans were there. There was 400 fans on each side. That's what they allowed. But I thought the support was great. And I think football just needs to come back completely. This shows that we can have football. It worked. It worked. It was great. It was great for these families. It was great for these kids. It's fun. It's what It's a part of our fabric in the country. This is part outside of God and family. You know, sports is very important. But I thought it was very entertaining. Central Arkansas, as you know, won 24-17. Austin Peay was winning with, you know, there's an old saying, don't leave time on the clock late in the game. And they left too much time for Central Arkansas to come back. There was like 2 minutes left, a little over 2 minutes. And Central Arkansas, bam, couple of good plays. You get to the 50 with a minute left. It was a great pass in the end, in the corner of the end zone, great catch. But Central Arkansas, ranked number 11 in 1AA, they deserve that. I mean, you can tell. Look at the strength of the Southland Conference. You know, Southeastern, Nicholls State, McNeese, Incarnate Word, out of Texas. And, you know, all the great teams that are in that conference. Lamar, like I said, and then Sam Houston State. Hopefully, all these teams in Louisiana that are in the Southland will be able to play like Central Arkansas. Look at what it was so great to see this. And it's just showing the country that we can go back and do this. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the Catholic Bears of Baton Rouge baseball. They're taking over the MLB. We'll be right back.
Parents, are you looking for advice on getting your high school athlete recruited by the right college? Lee Brakeen is your answer. Lee has been doing it for over 30 years. He knows the ropes, and more importantly, he knows the people. Lee offers turnkey service from evaluation, creating highlight tapes in the correct format, and complete guidelines for effective communication with the schools. No matter the sport, girl or boy, no matter what grade your child is in, let Lee Brakeen help match your child to the right college fit. Go to our website, lafootballmagazine.com, and get connected today.
Welcome back. You're listening to Sports Scouting Report with Lee Brakeen. I want to talk about, this is our baseball segment. Catholic High Baton Rouge has been known to turn out some great players in the MLB. For pro baseball, Kurt Ainsworth, All-American pitcher at LSU, was drafted first round in the MLB. David DeLucci went to Ole Miss from Catholic High, had a great career in the major leagues. Chris Demouy was a great pitcher at LSU from Catholic High. Patrick Coogan, another pitcher at LSU. Ryan Lewis went to Rice, did a really good job as a quarterback. DJ Ponder was a pretty good player at Tulane for football and baseball from Catholic High. Alex and Ross Massey, brothers that pitched at Tulane. And now, I'm proud to say that, and I've watched these kids, and like a lot of you, there are three players from Catholic High School in the major leagues right now. That's a lot. For the major leagues to have 3 from one high school in Baton Rouge, Austin Nola is a starting catcher for Seattle. He also plays third base if they need, first, DH, having a great year. Aaron Nola, I think one of the best young pitchers in the MLB, starting pitcher for the Phillies. His brother, and recently, congratulations to Ben Braymer, who's now with the Nationals as a pitcher, who went to Auburn from LSU Eunice, but pitched at Catholic High Baton Rouge. And then I think next year, Josh Smith has a great chance to be in the major leagues from Catholic High with the Yankees as a second baseman, shortstop, big-time arm, great power. So Catholic High by next year could have 4, maybe even 5 players from Catholic High in the majors. That's leading the state for one school right now with players. I think Barb's got 3. It might be tied with Barb. But what a great job the Catholic High Bear program's done. I mean, they've got the great tradition. And I have a story about Ben Braymer. First of all, I wanted to say congratulations to Ben's parents, who I know very well. I did Ben's highlight tape in high school for football. And to see this kid grow into what he's become and what he's really worked hard for, if any kid's listening to this show or any parent, Ben Braymer was not highly recruited out of high school. Most people know your story when you make it big. They don't know what you did to get there. But Ben Braymer, when he was at Catholic, he was a quarterback. And he also played baseball for Catholic High. And we did a highlight tape for him for football. And the only school that recruited him was ULM of Monroe. But he chose to go baseball, but they didn't give him a full scholarship, so he got like some money offered to him in baseball. So Ben chose to go to LSU Eunice. And he grew. He grew a lot from high school. Like, he was pushing 6'1", now he's 6'2". He's way over 200 pounds now. He was probably like 185 coming out of high school. Now he's like 220, 215, 6'2", throws over 95 miles an hour, can throw 96, 97. And he wasn't highly recruited when he came out of LSU Eunice, but Auburn signed him. Auburn gave him a scholarship, and he did phenomenal at Auburn. And LSU did not offer him a scholarship out of LSU Eunice. But congratulations to Ben. Ben, if you hear this, man, really, really proud of you and the whole family there. Just proud of this kid. And he got called up this past week with the Nationals. Did pretty good, had a strikeout, gave up a hit, but man, he got to pitch in a major league game. He's going to have a great future with the Nationals. Really happy for the Braymer family. Baton Rouge kid here from Baton Rouge, Louisiana with Catholic High. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk recruiting. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to talk about recruiting at LSU. We'll be right back.
Hello, Louisiana Football Magazine fans. Like what you're hearing? Well, you're going to love our content at lafootballmagazine.com. This week, make sure to check out Recruit Spotlight articles on Bogusa wide receiver and Memphis commit Raheem Roberts, South Lafourche offensive lineman Kendall Walker, and Ruston running back Travian Hargrove. Also, make sure to go to our website to pre-order our North and South magazine editions for the upcoming 2020 season. All that and more at lafootballmagazine.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. This is our recruiting segment. LSU picked up a commitment from one of the best cornerbacks in the country, a kid by the name of Nate Nathaniel Wiggins out of Atlanta Westlake High School in Atlanta, Georgia. He's one of the top 15, top 10 kids in the state of Georgia, which is phenomenal. Some people think he's one of the top 5 in the state of Georgia. They have 3 big-time corners coming out of Georgia this year. All 3 are looked at with pro futures, and Nathaniel's one of those 3. He's 6'2", 175 pounds. I've watched his highlight tape, and he's very long, he's very gifted, and he's very smart, and he's very super gifted fast. He makes everybody look slow, and he's got great instincts on the ball. He played receiver. He's playing receiver at Westlake, and he plays DB. I like that. I like that he plays both sides of the ball. Atlanta Westlake, a little tidbit here, produced Cam Newton. Cam Newton played at Atlanta Westlake, signed with the University of Florida, if you forgot that, and transferred to a junior college in Kansas and then went to Auburn and won the Heisman Trophy. He's an Atlanta Westlake alumni. And remember Pac-Man Jones. Adam Pac-Man Jones is an Atlanta Westlake alum. Pac-Man Jones, you might remember, was a great DB for the Cincinnati Bengals for about 9 years. And then there was another great player that come out of Atlanta Westlake recently, A.J. Tyrell, the defensive back from Clemson that just went in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft. A.J. Tyrell, who Jamar Chase basically smoked the whole game. Just goes to show you how good Jamar is. But Tyrell from Atlanta Westlake played at Clemson. And they sign about 8 or 9 kids every year to either 1AA or D1. It's one of the top programs in the state of Georgia, and it's one of the top programs in Atlanta Westlake. But I think this is one of the best commitments so far to LSU I think he's one of the most gifted kids I've seen LSU get out of state. I think the other one would be Landon Jackson from Texarkana, Texas. I think he's a diamond for LSU. Not in the rough. I just think he's one of those guys that they stole from Texas and A&M. And I think Nathaniel Wiggins would be a starter at Georgia. You know, that's when I look at comparisons. How long would it take these kids to start for the best school in that state? And these are two kids that LSU went in and got a national championship. But I hope you enjoyed the show today, talking about baseball, talking about Jamar Chase, LSU, the recruiting, and you know, talking about the first football game of the season. I also want to let everybody know that if you pre-ordered a North or South magazine, that Monday, today, and Tuesday, we're mailing out all the pre-orders, so you should get them by the end of this week in the mail if you pre-ordered a magazine. If you haven't, ordered our Louisiana football magazine preview, which is 140 pages, gloss magazine, color throughout, recruiting, all 312 high schools, all 12 colleges. Some of them announced they're not going to play, but we still did it. It's a great magazine to pick up and keep up with all the schools, but you can go to lafootballmagazine.com, our website, and pre-order a copy, or actually right now order a copy. It takes 4 to 7 days to mail it out. Again, that's lafootballmagazine.com. This is our 24th preview issue that we've done, and it's a great guide for all the high schools and college. And we've got a big recruiting section, great covers. The two covers are different for North and South, and the two recruiting sections are different. And then we do a story in each one that's different. So we have a story for North and a story for South that you have to get each magazine to get. And to get the recruiting, you got to get each magazine also. Kind of like what Athlons does nationally. In some of the national magazines, like Lindsay's, they do a regional, national, and they do different covers and also different stories dedicated to that issue. But I hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you this Friday.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee King.